So although a man is not going to be his mother's doctor or a therapist, he could have the need to basically save or to rescue his mother. And this could mean that his mother is not in a good way. She could have health problems, relationships could be in a mess, her whole life could be in a mess, or she could just be like everyone else on this planet and have challenges. So this is going to mean that a lot of his time and energy will be directed towards his mother and what is going on for her. And through being this way, his own life is going to be greatly diminished. He might not be doing very well when it comes to his career, that's if he has one. His relationship could also be in a mess if he is in one. His health could be in a bad way. And so he is not going to be taking care of a lot of his own needs. In general, he could be oblivious as to what his needs are. He could even have moments where he believes that he doesn't have needs. And so, according to others, he could be a needless human being. And through being there for his mother, he could receive a fair amount of approval from her. But of course, this is not going to make up for the fact that he is neglecting himself. And if he is not doing things for his mother, he could be on the phone to her or messaging her. So a lot of his time and energy will be spent on his mother. So she will be receiving a lot of his life force, so it's to be expected that his own life is going to go down the toilet, so to speak. And there could come a point in time when he has some kind of breakdown and can no longer behave in the same way. And if this was to take place, he could end up feeling guilty and ashamed and experience fear and anxiety. And he could have this compulsion to behave in the same way. But although he will be neglecting himself, his mother could also be oblivious to what is going on and feel entitled to his support. And as to why a man would have the need to rescue his mother, it is likely to go back to what took place during his early years. And this is likely to have been a time when his mother used him to fulfill some of her adult and unmet childhood needs. And so his mother would have probably been very needy and not very resourceful. She may have had at least one personality disorder. And so he would have come to believe that his sole purpose, was to take care of his mother's needs. And if he didn't, he may have been punished, disapproved of, and or abandoned. And so he would have had to have lost touch with his true self, his needs and feelings. And he would have come to believe that there was something wrong with his needs, with his feelings, and with his self. And so in order to survive, he had to be completely focused on his mother. And during this time, through receiving his mother's attention, albeit attention that was dysfunctional, he would have come to believe that he was responsible for his mother and that it was up to him to make her happy, to look after her. So instead of being her son, he would have been her surrogate spouse. And through being given all this responsibility, it would have caused him to feel falsely empowered, because through not receiving what he needed to receive, he wouldn't have been able to experience an emotional birth. And so he would have stayed emotionally stunted and experienced a lot of trauma. So deep down he would have felt helpless, powerless, and as though he had no control. But on top of this, through being made to feel responsible for his mother, he will have been falsely empowered, and so he may have felt special, important, and seen himself as the chosen one. And of course seen his mother, through him developing this false self, he would have seen his mother as someone that was incapable, someone who needed him to save her, because most likely his father wasn't there. If he was, he would have checked out, so he wouldn't have been emotionally available and really present. In a way, he will have thrown his son to the wolves and left him to fulfill his mother's needs and the needs that he as father should have met. And so through having this identity, he will be, as I said, falsely empowered and believe that it's up to him to make everything okay for his mother. But of course, behind this role, he will feel like a powerless, dependent child because he won't have received what he needed to receive to develop a strong sense of self. And as his father wasn't there to start the individuation process. And so, what this man will need to realise is that he is only responsible for himself. Of course, if he has children as well, or a child, he will be responsible for them, but other than that, he will be responsible for himself and not his mother. And his mother can't expect him to be there for her. There's only so much that he can do. Of course, there's a big difference between looking out for his mother and being there when he can, and being there for her practically all the time, and neglecting himself. So he was emotionally abandoned by his mother very early on, and now is the time for him to be there for himself. And so if you're a man and you're in this position, you're enmeshed to your mother, and you're acting as though you are an extension of her as opposed to a separate being, then you may need to reach out for the assistance of a therapist or a healer so that you can gradually separate from your mother and live the life that you were born to live.